2D days in last 2 weeks, trying to decide what to do. I have unfortunately joined this sad club. I am sorry everyone is here but glad I found this place. My wife and I have been married 3 years. I am 27, her 26. We have a 19-month-old and 2 dogs. We were living in a fixer-upper house in a pretty bad part of town. Earlier this summer, she was out jogging and got chased down by a group of men. She ran by their house as they were outside and they jumped in a vehicle and chased her all through the neighborhood. She had to hide in yards, bushes, etc. and work her way back to our house without them seeing her. Her guess is that they were attempting to kidnap her. This shook her to the point of wanting to immediately move from that area and not run anymore. We, mostly me after our child was born, have been remodeling it for a few years and were trying to get it finished so we could move to a better area. The next day we started house shopping and I started trying to figure out how we could swing 2 mortgages while we finish remodeling the first house. She wanted to keep running, so started going in early to work to run with her boss, a male. Her office is in a much better part of town, plus figured it would be safer to be running with someone. I have always fully trusted her and had no qualms about this arrangement. I have met her boss a few times and liked him. He is a workaholic and kind of drug her into that habit as well. It wasn't uncommon for him to ask her for something at 8 or 9 at night. They work for demanding clients and were always working. They had also become friends and were in pretty constant contact. He did not have a good family life at home due to the aforementioned workaholism and regularly shared that with her. She in turn shared this with me. Again, I didn't see any problem with it, nothing wrong with a guy bitching about his wife to a friend. She filled me in on everything and I didn't have any inkling that anything was being hidden from me. Little bit of a sidebar backstory: she was cheated on repeatedly in her relationship before me, and it took quite a bit to gain her trust after that. Knowing how much she was hurt by her ex and how big of a deal infidelity was to her, I never thought I had anything to worry about. We have always been open with each other and have each other's phone passcodes. I never felt the need to look through hers and don't believe she has looked through mine either. Our relationship was not in great shape before or during this running arrangement either. We were short with each other and irritable. We were working from home with the pandemic from March until June when our local stay-home order was lifted. She went back to her office and I opted to stay home with the baby and try to work and not send the baby to daycare. I was always trying to catch up on work in the evening when she got home, and she was also trying to continue working when she got home, so we weren't talking much. We did discuss that we were both unhappy but were having trouble deciding exactly what to do about it. I felt like her work and coworkers were more important than me and her family. She thought everything she did made me mad. Our S-time life was pretty much non-existent. We went from an amazing one when we started dating at 19 and 18 through about when we got engaged. It started dwindling then and has been in decline ever since. It got a few month bump during her pregnancy thanks hormones, but quickly fizzled out again. She just wanted none of it and I was always attorney and frustrated. This goes on several months. We are still house shopping. The first house was closer to my office and she had a long commute. So the search was somewhat based around her office location. It was my turn to commute a long ways. She was getting up and leaving around 4:30 in the morning. I was sleeping several more hours because I was staying up late working. One morning I happened to wake up while she was getting ready and she was in her workout clothes but in full makeup and hair done and everything. I thought that odd. Why get all dolled up to go work out and sweat? I guess I had assumed she just changed and got ready at work in the bathroom after their runs. She would also only shower in the mornings before going to work out, and that never made sense to me either. Why shower before you go run but not after? Or in the evening after you get home, or at night before you go to bed? I asked her about it that morning and she said something like it was easier to get ready at home than drag everything to the office. I asked if all they were doing was running and nothing else. She said yes. I asked if I needed to be worried. She said no and left. A few months later, we have another house and moved out of the bad neighborhood. I was hoping the stress of being in the dangerous neighborhood plus the unpleasantness of living in a construction zone being gone would help us be happier, but no luck. She was in a wedding of a good friend in October. We had discussed a long time ago wanting to start trying for another child after that wedding so she could drink at it and not have a bump in any of the pictures from it. The wedding came and went and she was saying now she's unsure of our future, doesn't want to get pregnant if she doesn't even know if we'll stay together, she's still unhappy, etc. We start really trying to dig into what is wrong. I felt we were making some progress and I was finally starting to get some things out of her that I could change to make things better for her. After Thanksgiving, we get back from a walk with our dogs and baby and she sits me down and says we need to talk. She stumbled and hesitated a while and said I don't even know how to say this over and over. I thought someone had died or something. She finally said I think I'm going to resign from my job. I asked why. She loved her job and was moving up the ranks very quickly. She said something like me and boss have gotten too close and have developed feelings for each other. I was shocked and crushed but not that shocked. I immediately started blaming myself. She had been telling me she was unhappy and I wasn't succeeding in fixing it, so she went elsewhere for her emotional needs. She didn't blame me directly but was saying things like I tried to tell you but you didn't think anything of it, so I kept going and it got out of control. She did mention a while back that he texted her something one night while he was traveling and drunk that alluded to him liking her, but I had brushed it off as him just being unhappy with his wife and honestly forgot about it. I asked how long it had been going on and she said since about July. I asked if they loved each other or if they were like planning on running away together or anything, and she said no, just had told each other they had feelings for each other. She offered to show me all their conversations but I declined then. I asked why tell me now, and she said she had tried to several times over the last few months but he always talked her out of it and asked her to wait until he told his wife. That hurt. She put his family's feelings over mine. She cried and apologized profusely, and I was thinking I still wanted to fix things. About a week goes by and again after a walk she starts pacing around and sits me down again and says we need to talk. More of the I don't even know how to say this but finally gets out. It almost got physical a few times. I was furious. What the duck does almost got physical mean? She said they would be sitting together in one of their cars or in their office well before anyone else came into work and would be cuddling or sitting laying really close. Once in a while he would start trying to put his hand down her pants or shirt but she always stopped it. I said, did you reciprocate? And she was like, what? I don't know, I guess sobbing at this point. I kept asking and she kept weaseling around and I finally asked, have you touched his dick? And she said once. They always had clothes on and always stopped it blah blah, don't really give a s it. I was pissed that she did this, more pissed that she was trickle-truthing, a new term I have learned since finding this community, and most pissed that she let me go a week still trying to fix things after confessing to the emotional affair while sitting on the physical aspect of it. We had even gone out on Cyber Monday and spent a ton of money on furniture for the new house between confessions, and she let me do it, none the wiser. I was shaking mad and couldn't do anything about it. Our child was right with us when this talk happened and I didn't want to lose my asset. How could she do this behind my back when she obviously knows the pain? How could they be GOPing around on each other 1 minute then come home and act like things are relatively fine? How could she commit us to a second mortgage on a house we bought largely because of its proximity to her job while all of this was going on? How could they just throw two families, careers, and potentially an entire company boss as the owner of the company away without any regards to anyone else it would affect? She cried the rest of the day night and kept apologizing and asking me if I wanted her to get out. I opted not to kick her out, as I need help caring for the baby, no family or friends in town really or daycare to take the baby to, and am still trying to work a full-time job from home. I didn't eat or sleep much the rest of that day and went and did some shovel therapy the next day, unloading and spreading 2 tons of landscaping rock at the fixer-upper house. I highly recommend that to anyone else right after D-Day. It definitely worked the shaking anger out and gave me time to think. We are now almost a week after the second confession. She started looking for new jobs and therapists for us to see both individually and together. She has cut off most contact with the boss, but is still working for him, and some contact is inevitable to coordinate projects. We need the income, and she has been very transparent since, showing me all their conversations, and if they have to talk on the phone I have been there with it on speaker. She is working from home and avoiding being physically near him. Trying to change jobs ASAP and cut off contact completely. She really wants to reconcile from the cheating, but unsure if we can fix all the issues that existed prior to it. I am sure the prior issues are fixable, but unsure I can forgive the cheating. We are still living together and we talk about things but are not sleeping in the same bed and haven't touched since the second confession. We fall back into being happy and joking with each other, and it makes me lean towards working towards reconciliation. Time that I spend alone all day on weekends working on the fixer-upper, I also find myself leading towards reconciliation. I know the general recommendation here is to have absolutely no contact for a while. I don't see a way to really make it work in our case, so I wonder if the feelings are genuine or just a result of being near the person I loved so much for so long. I think I still love her, but then think of the betrayal and capability of lies I never knew she had in her and wonder if even attempting reconciliation is wise. If she has told me the whole truth, I think she is now, but who the hell knows. I guess I am somewhat comforted that they stopped the physical aspect from going too far. I was also comforted that they confessed, but I'm not sure now how confident I am that the confession was out of guilt. I learned the boss's wife had reached out to me on Facebook Messenger when she found out, which was the day before my wife confessed the first time to the emotional affair. I don't know if it's my privacy settings or what, but had to dig down a ways in the app to find that she had tried to message me, so had I seen those messages I would have found out from her and not my wife. My wife told me because she started getting threatening texts from boss's wife, so she gathered boss's wife knew and it was okay to tell me. I am still pissed and hurt that my wife respected his wishes to wait until he confessed or maybe got caught. We still don't know to confess to me. This could have come to light months before had she just put me first. My plan now is to try to talk to a lawyer and get into a therapist and sort out what I want to do. I was also thinking it might be beneficial to talk with boss's wife to see what story she had gotten and her thoughts and feelings about everything. Is that wise? I don't really have anyone I would be comfortable talking with about this and figure she is going through the same thing at the same time and we might be able to help each other. I had that internal talk with myself a while ago that I would not tolerate cheating and I would be gone if it happened. That was before marriage and kids, and they didn't get that far around the bases as timely, so I find myself trying to justify an exception to that rule. My single greatest hesitation to leaving is our child. I just want them to have a good life and a loving family and feel that will be much more difficult if we are splitting custody or whatever a divorce would bring. I grew up with so many kids that struggled with their parents divorcing through childhood and into adulthood and don't want that to be something my own child has to deal with. I know we all have a similar story, but anyone's closely match mine? Reconciliation, success, failure stories? Advice? All is much appreciated. Thanks for reading the novel I wrote. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1 Ask app wife what she knows plus ask your ex for her phone. 2 DNA test. 3 STD test. 4 the kid very young and well not remember anything. 5 start planning your exit strategy and go see a lawyer. 6 NC. 7 divorce and start dating. 8 lie detector if you have the money. Redditor 2 I don't think you know the whole truth. And she didn't tell you because she wanted to, but she was efforts too. I would get out of that relationship because I won't ever be able to trust her. There is a lot of red flags in her story. Her being happy, getting ready, doing makeup and all tell she was really liking it and fully participating in it. I think they didn't stop at what she told you and it's still going on. Redditor 3 Here is how I read your text. Your wife and boss got closer and fell for each other. That went so far that she went above and beyond to look good for him and impress him while she had no more desire to look good for you. At that point, your marriage had no chance to improve, no matter what you did. She wanted your marriage to be bad so she can feel good with her boss. They also got physical and probably had sex. Attraction plus interest plus opportunity. They had an affair for a couple of months. Do you really think that they had no sex? Then the boss either told his wife or she found out. His wife had the decency to tell you about it. Her boss told her that she is about to be outed, so she decided to tell you ASAP because if she wouldn't, you would have found out by his wife. That way she can act as if she feels guilty and not as if she got caught. Since the wife of the boss had found out, their affair was over since he decided to stay with his wife. Afraid of being alone, She tells you that she told you everything because she wants to reconcile. Of course she hasn't told you everything because that would have been too much. His wife demanded that he fires her, since she doesn't want your wife around him. They agreed that she looks for a new job and she sells it to you as her idea, to make you believe that she wants to reconcile because of you and not because she is afraid of being alone. I would advise you to stay in separate rooms for the rest of the year. Only spend time together when it is about the kid. Tell her that she has to create a timeline where she shows you everything. When it started, who initiated it, when did they kiss first, when did she touch his DCK, etc. etc. In addition, she has to answer you the question, what she thought would happen if you find out and why she didn't care about the outcome, why she didn't care about you and the kid. Important, go to a doctor and get tested for STDs now and in 3 months. Better safe than sorry. You need to expect that she lied to you. She has to get tested as well and show you the results. Meet with a lawyer and find out what your options are. Also ask him how a prenup would look like in case you two reconcile. That now may seem too much for you, but you should also do a paternity test for the kid. Not just because you might doubt her, but also to show her what her lying and cheating has done to you. There have to be consequences or she will do it again. Spend as much time as you can with friends and family. Talk to them and ask them for support. Don't drink any alcohol or take drugs, they won't help you. When you then met with a lawyer, you both got tested for STDs and the paternity test is done, then sit down with her and ask her how she plans to win your trust back and how she plans to show you that she can still respect you. Ask her what she has done and will do to make sure that the same thing won't happen again. In addition, talk to the wife of the boss and ask her what her husband has told her. Find out if their stories match or not. When the new year then comes around, make a decision for or against your marriage. Just make sure that it is a decision that is all about you. You are worth so much more than to be treated this way. Redditor follow up, she went above and beyond to look good for him and impress him while she had no more desire to look good for you. She only took her shower in the morning before their run. That tells you where you stood in the marriage at that time. Then the boss either told his wife or she found out. His wife had the decency to tell you about it. Her boss told her that she is about to be outed, so she decided to tell you ASAP because if she wouldn't, you would have found out by his wife. That way she can act as if she feels guilty and not as if she got caught. Since the wife of the boss had found out, their affair was over since he decided to stay with his wife. Afraid of being alone, she tells you that she told you everything because she wants to reconcile. Of course she hasn't told you everything because that would have been too much. His wife demanded that he fires her, since she doesn't want your wife around him. They agreed that she looks for a new job and she sells it to you as her idea, to make you believe that she wants to reconcile because of you and not because she is afraid of being alone. So that tells you where you stand in the marriage now.